the Hawks took 101 marks, so the Swans 58, but it was a big mark. So 13 marks inside 50 for Hawthorn, 4 to the Swans. So I was disappointed in Amadi last night. Like he doesn't take big pack marks. Charlie Curnow, you've brought to the club. I haven't seen Charlie take a strong mark in a Sydney Swans jumper yet. Yet you saw Chol flying aggressively for his marks. Barras was best on ground in that situation. Jack Gunston's not normally a player, but he was competing hard. So that was a disappointing part for Sydney.
You're not jumping off Charlie Curnow after 3 weeks, are you?
He's been disappointing.
You said on Footy Classified he'd be top 5 player in the competition.
And he's a mile. He wouldn't even be in the top 200-300. So I'm happy to say the first 3 rounds he's been very disappointing.
Some old habits crept in last night.
Are you revisiting your
Where
original
I'm
statement?
concerned about him.
But are you no longer saying that he'll be top 5 player in the comp?
Yes.
Wow, geez, he's jumped off court.
No, but I'm just being a realist. On what I've seen, Sam, he can't. You see the way Darcy and Norton fly and clunk their marks. He doesn't have a capacity to do that.
He's never, in fairness to him, he's never been that player.
Yeah, I know. And I thought, though, with Goulden and the supply that he would get, Warner and Heaney, not getting Goulden now, he played like a small last night. He dropped marks and he picked it up and took a snap. But, yeah, I'm pretty disappointed in what I've seen so far, yeah.
You two, I mean, on air and off air, talk a lot about footy IQ. And, you know, not a lot, but there are players who with a lot of raw natural talent. But in order to become the superstars like you two were, it's more than that. It's the understanding of the game and the positioning. And
Gunston wouldn't still be playing AFL if he just made it a running race. Charlie's making it a running race. Gunston's smarts, as Jimmy speaks about, is why he's playing such amazing football.
The 18 CEOs met with Andrew Dillon on Wednesday, and I can tell you tonight that the feedback given to the league CEO was quite strong, and that is we don't like opening round in the current iteration that it is, and we want it changed. I would, if I was a betting man, be very comfortable wagering that next season opening round will look different, and even going beyond that into 2027. I think that there is an absolute possibility that all 18 teams in some shape or form are involved in opening round. Now, if it becomes that, it essentially becomes round one if we have all 18 teams. But, you know, you don't have to look too far to find a critic of opening round. We've heard from Justin Longmuir, we've heard from Simon Garlick, we've heard from Stephen King. There are clubs that are confused, and Hawthorn fans walk away from an amazing game last night and an amazing performance, Lordo, and now have an 18-day break.
Yeah, this started out, I think, with the right meaning by the AFL. I thought that...
Great intention.
Great intention. It was a dead weekend. And why not look after the northern states and football, and let's celebrate football in New South Wales. And then, obviously, it's the ramifications off the back of that where you get Justin Longmuir, who rightly makes a point, was that affects our preparation. And then suddenly the buys, you have some teams that have played. Melbourne don't have a buy, I think, till round 16, and you've got other teams who are having a buy in round 2 or 3. So
several clubs have 2 buys before that.
Yeah, and all that. So that's what I don't like. And I just feel like it kills off so many weeks of the season. So round 2, we have 4 teams not playing. Round 3, we have 4 teams not playing. Then round 4, we have 2 teams not playing. And then during the mid part of the year when everyone's a bit tired and you have more buys and teams not playing, we have a lot of flat games. So I just think by doing this, I just love the old school situation when we used to have Sydney and Collingwood had played a bumper game. Everyone else used to have play on one weekend. They, I think, had the bye that weekend, and then they would play a standalone game in Sydney. To me, it was far simpler back then when we used to do it that way. Chris Scott, a number of years ago, said we have the most compromised game in the world, and yet there's a lot of people in football saying we're just compromising it more and more as time goes by.
You won't hear these words out of my mouth too many times. You do have to feel for the AFL. Like, if they just kept everything the way it was, we'd be sitting here saying, when are they going to help the northern states? When are they going to help promote the game in New South Wales, in Queensland? You know, what more can we do for these clubs, Jimmy? So if they hadn't have done anything and none of the Victorian clubs or South Australian or West Australian clubs are complaining, they would have been criticised for not being creative enough.
But did it boost their crowds? So
it's boosted membership of all 4 clubs.
Yeah,
significantly.
Astronomically.
Yeah.
It has been a raging success for those 4 clubs. But to your point earlier and to Jimmy's point further on from that, I think we have lost a little bit momentum in starting the season. Not just because not all the teams are playing, but because to your point, Lloydie, Hawthorn play 3 games, then they've got an 18-day break. Carlton play 2 games, then they've got a 15-day break. It's a weird kind of feeling for fans of a game that are used to being able to watch their team every 7 days and every 14 days can usually go to watch their team play at home. We've been accustomed to that for decades and decades and decades.
Yeah, and the ladder. Some people say to me, I don't even bother looking at the ladder anymore because...
It's so true.
Yeah, so Ken Hinkley raised last week, Jimmy, why can't we, after 2 weeks, if we celebrate the northern states, give them what they need to, but then at least after the first 2 weeks, everything's evened out. So you play once, everyone plays once in the first 2 weeks, and then we're all square, and then we can go from there. But then still some clubs are going to say, well, we didn't play the week before and you did, in that sense as well.
Sam, is it... I think obviously gather round happened, state of origin happened.
Yep.
Opening round was looking to, again, hang on, we've probably neglected this. Is this still a bit of, not guilt, but like, geez, we sort of dropped the ball because coming off the back of COVID, we really didn't launch back into New South Wales in particular. Queensland got a big boost because we had grand final up there, and you can see the junior participation numbers. They probably haven't had that bump in New South Wales.
I think that's probably a fair and reasonable thing to say. But, you know, what are we taking away? When we pull one lever, often, you know, three other things happen. What have we taken away from the rest of the game? That's what I would be asking. And, you know, did we need wildcard weekend? I'm not so sure. Did we need state of origin? I'm not so sure. Did we need opening round? Well, you know, I think the northern clubs would say that we absolutely did. But what impact is it having on the rest of the competition? What impact is it having on the rest of our fans? Does the start of the season feel different to you the last few years? And if you don't like it, why? And
are you up and about? Like, so you should be as excited right now about your team as anyone because you've only lost one game maximum, most teams, or two max. So everything you touched on, Sam, is about money. So wild card round is about money.
They say it's about the fans.
Opening round is about money. I'd say.
And growth of the game nationally. I can accept that.
What was the other one? State of origin.
Nostalgia. More money.
So it's just more to the fans. Are you as excited about the game? I used to turn up to Richmond and Carlton pretty excited. I'm not saying that has to be Richmond Carlton, but the excitement of that first game buzz.
Oh, the whole week.
The whole week.
The whole week was amazing.
I just worry that we've lost a bit of that fan excitement